Alrighty, time for take 2 at this kingdom. I just played it a minute ago, and we saw that Sculptor Fiatum seems perfectly satisfactory, seems to beat the bot's big money deck just fine. And I had contemplated trying to build some engine with students plus League of Shopkeepers as a village, and ruled it out because it looked finicky. And it does look finicky, but I want to give it a shot anyway to see if there's something there. One thing I didn't think about until after the game is I'd mentioned that there's only the 4 students in the pile. And I think, well, actually 2 things. One is I mentioned that there's only 4 students in the pile, and then I realized that's not really a constraint, because if you're trashing treasures to get the village effect, well, the student goes back onto your deck. So you could actually just like play 1 student 10 times a turn. It's like kill a copper every time, replay it. And so there's really not much of a limit on villages. At least the 4 students in the pile are not a limit. And the second thing was I mentioned plus buy, like you might want Imperial Envoy to have 1 or 2 extra buys, but actually once you've got the student village thing from the League of Shopkeepers interaction, you're also getting plus 1 buy every time you do that, so you're going to have more than enough buys. So buys aren't really a constraint, and actions are less of a constraint than I thought. Still looks really finicky, but I'm going to give it a shot and see if we can't make this deck work. I'm not exactly sure, to be perfectly honest, where this is going. I think the goal number 1 is activate the students. I gotta trash 10 treasures to get to 10 favors for League of Shopkeepers. It's the 7 starting coppers, plus I'll need to buy 3 coppers or sculpt something to trash. Then once the students are online, I think I probably want like 2 or 3 Imperial Envoys for draw, and then not exactly sure what the payload is. Probably Change plus Lich is pretty good. The downside of that is you can only gain provinces off of that, so you can't use that to gain like duchies or other engine pieces, because Change can only gain a more expensive card. But Lich is a card that you trash it, you get it back, and you get something else nice out of the trash. So that's a decent interaction. Depending on where the bot's at, like if the bot already has a bunch of provinces, maybe the payload involves playing samurais just to keep the bot from hitting 8. I'm not exactly sure. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyways, what am I doing? It's turn 3. I bought the 2 things that I wanted. Probably just force it here to make sure I find them both. Like I said, I think the main early goal is just to get this stuff functioning. Guess I rotate this. I'm not totally sure on that. Sculptor? Conjurer? Probably not Conjurer, because I got this change that I want to play, and they'll butt heads with each other. I do believe the bot liked Conjurer, so maybe I rotate it to stop the bot from getting Conjurer. Would I rather the bot have access to Sorcerer? Maybe. I'm not sure if Sorcerer is any good here. The curses probably don't hurt that much. The curses certainly don't hurt once my deck is functioning. It's just a thing student can trash. I'm not sure if the curses hurt now at all. I don't know. Do I want a Conjurer? I guess is probably the bigger question. Probably so at some point, I think. I could play Conjurer and gain some advisors. Not totally sure on that. Yeah, I don't really have a well-formed idea of exactly what this deck's supposed to do. Ooh, that's a painful discard. Discarding 2 would be totally fine here. 3 hurts a lot. I guess I did it this way. From a 3-card hand, I can't play both the student and the change. It's the big limitation. 4 cards, I could trash a copper with student, trash an estate with change, be alright. Five again. It's envoy time. Where are my favorites? I've only got 3 favorites. No, it is not envoy time yet. It is not even close to envoy time yet. Ooh, bottom card is an estate, I do believe. So maybe I just sculpt a advisor here to draw it. Something tells me the bot is not going to deny me my estate. This can be Conjurer now, I guess. Do I know what I'm doing? No, not exactly. Is copper better than nothing? Probably not. At least not while I have coppers in my deck. I will need to get 3 extra treasures to trash, which I can gain for free off a sculpture. But if like the upside of buying copper would be, oh, that frees up my sculptors to gain other things potentially. I don't want more coppers than I need at any point in time, I don't think. I got my conjure. Bot, you can't have yours. 7 is a big number. It's probably more than I need. Is Samurai any good? Slows the bot down a little bit, gives me a little bit of money to work with. I don't know. Maybe I should just... It still seems a little bit early to add draw cards that I can't really play, but I do have 2 villagers. Maybe I just take the Envoy now. The card I'm definitely going to want. Two Envoys is too much. Sorcerer, perhaps? I don't know. We're making this up as we go along. One upside of Sorcerer, which at this stage of the game is more theoretical, but I'm forward thinking here, is if you have a bunch of advisors, which in theory at some point I plan to have, I think, off of this Conjurer, then one problem with an advisor is your opponent discards all your good cards. And like imagine you had 10 advisors in your deck and you really want to play your Sculptor or something. They can just keep denying Sculptor over and over and you never draw it. And that's always pitch it. And so advisor plays nicely with cantrips because you can play all your advisors and there's like a card or two left in your discard. You just play your cantrips. And so if anything, it's just like the +1 card, +1 action is kind of nice for a sorcerer because just having cantrips in your deck makes the advisor stack work a little bit better, which I think is an argument for having it. The bot actually I think is really good at not getting hit by sorcerer because it knows its deck like with as perfect knowledge as you could have. It doesn't ever make the non-optimal guess. So I don't know that the curse attack is going to hurt all that badly, but maybe it hurts a little bit. Okie dokie. Can I get to 10 favors here? I can get close at least. I did get a sorcerer, right? Did I make that up? Not about the sorcerer. It's just hiding in the very bottom. This gets me there, doesn't it? I'd have to rotate and gain the student, which I guess is fine. I probably want to lift at some point, but I don't need it like now. There we go. 10 favors. Mission accomplished. Now what do I do? Unclear. Gain a silver, gain an advisor, and draw. I don't need to draw 2 students, really. I also don't really need 2 students on top of my deck, though, so maybe I do draw them. The bot will almost certainly discard the sorcerer. I think I really want a second Imperial Envoy in my deck, is my answer. I think I only get that this way. Could be a Swashbuckler as well. Draws 2 fewer cards. I don't need the plus buy. It avoids debt, which might matter a little bit. Debt plays a little bit awkwardly with change. And I don't know that I'm likely to activate this or anything. I might get a favor or 2 off of it. But like, this effect plays at least a little bit nicely with advisor. I'll try a Swashbuckler. Again, do I know what I'm doing? No. Playing it by ear. I need stuff to trash to these students. Don't want to overdo on coppers or you trigger a dud. I think I can afford at least 2 coppers. Please, Swashbuckler. Pretty please. Please don't discard. Darn. I mean, it's clearly the correct answer. Made the right choice. Good for you, bot. Ideally, I would like to hold off and play my sorcerer, if at all possible. I could sculpt 1 treasure. Well, let me think about this. So I could sculpt the treasure, trash it with student, and then gain an advisor off the next sculptor and play that. I think I'd rather just draw a random card off top and see what we get. Hey, I got a curse in. Look at me go. Envoy, please. Please, bot. Oh my. You let me. Okay, I get if you. Incredibly generous. Yeah, as a general principle, when your opponent plays an advisor, just discard the draw cards if you're at all unsure. Because if you discard their shiny looking payload cards, but give them the draw, they'll draw back around to it. Alrighty, what do I want to put in the discard? Maybe another cantrip so that I can draw everything? Well, I can draw everything off of the Swashbuckler just fine. What am I trying to accomplish out of this turn? Play the Sculptor again. I have more draw than I need at this point. So how to make use of overdraw. Change an advisor into a lich, maybe? Then I guess I have to do this at some point, so I might as well get this out of the way. A very finicky deck. Okay, can I gain and play a lich? Or gain and trash, I guess, is what I really mean by that. I gain and trash a lich on the same turn. Change trashes, I don't know, Sculptor into lich. Then I have 2 cards down there. Student, trash, draw. No. Change Sculptor into lich. Conjurer gains change. Play Swashbuckler. That doesn't quite work because I need to play the student first. There's a chance this works out, I think. Like a 1/3 shot. So the trouble I'm going to run into, I think, is... I guess it's not so bad. Bottom decking the lich is the worst of the 3 outcomes. This is the ideal outcome. So I was guaranteed to draw this student. This bottom card is also a student. A hand of 2 students and a lich. I could trash the lich to the student, which is all right. I would get the Sculptor back, so it's not terrible. This is the hand I was really looking for, which was change plus lich. And there was only a 1/3 chance I drew both of those. Pay off debt. And I think I just buy a bunch of coppers here. Obviously, the risk is if I buy too much junk, I don't find my draw cards to kick it off. But I do plan on playing Student a bunch of times. And rather than have to gain those treasures off of Sculptor, 4 coppers feels like enough, I think. I'm looking at this hand and thinking, well, maybe the answer is 3 coppers. But there's a chance. There's a chance I could draw here. Depends on... The bot seems a little bit too friendly with the Imperial Envoy. Maybe if I sculpt the advisor and play it and reveal Envoy, it'll let me have it. This is most likely going to be a dud. Don't think I need a second lich, but maybe. I don't need anything else in the pile. I don't think the bot wants a lich. Yeah, well, so much for this turn. Fizzled a little bit early. Am I trying to win next turn? Probably. I think so. So I probably want another change. Over advisor. I would really love a 3rd draw card. Unfortunately, like a 3rd one of these terminal draw cards, like an Imperial Envoy. But I can't afford that. I'm going to take Advisor. It's a safer card. And I think if I end up wanting change, maybe I can gain it off of Conjurer next turn or off of Sculptor. Another copper. Okay, so 3 provinces is a win here. Let's see what we can do. Annoyingly, I have none of my coppers in hand at the moment. Do I trash one of these? Do I sculpt a copper? I guess I just sculpt something. Envoy. Advisor. Ah! You let me have the Swashbuckler. And at an opportune time, I can activate it here. I think this is a bunch of advisors down there, aren't they? Maybe I just have fewer than I thought I did. Like I said, just like one more Imperial Envoy, I think would go a long way here. Advisor does naturally have this problem where it tends to hide in the discard if your opponent plays correctly. Okay. So we've drawn basically everything. Now let's see if I can get 3 provinces here. Pay it off. Trash. Gain, I guess, a silver. Maybe I want the cantrip. Like I said, that plays nicely with Advisor. Now I need to make 2 more money somehow. Because I need to pay off the... Oh no, this works fine. I already have enough money. I was going to say I need the money to pay off the debt. So I can play this change, but I already have 2 to cover the 2 debt. So we're all right on that front. There's the Lich. Can I get 2 provinces here? So if I change Lich into province, I have 1 money left. I think that works, right? So one line that's possible that I could think about is like Sculptor, gain a Fiatum, trash Fiatum with Student, put 3 silvers down there, play the Lich, draw the silvers, and then change something slightly lower cost into province. I think even with the silvers, I don't have enough money left to buy another province. So that probably doesn't work. Option 2, which I think will work, is I change Lich into province. Then I pay off this 2 debt to do it. I take 2 more debt. I need to make 1 more money, which I do by playing Student. So like Student, Trash, Student. Then I sculpt the change and change the Conjurer into the last province. And I think that works out. Pay that off. Gain an estate. Turns out I didn't need the Ratcatcher after all. Oh, never mind, I did. It's already on my mat. Forget I said anything. Wow, this works out like just exactly. Exactly enough money to pay off the debt. Exactly enough actions to play this. And it scores. Okay, not quite exactly enough points. I have 1 more point than necessary. So 14 turns. I got 4 provinces. This seems pretty doable to me. I think the Fiatum deck, I believe, took a good deal longer. I want to say that was like 18 turns. So how would something like this match up against Fiatum? I think pretty well. So like Fiatum scores a bunch of points, the Fiatum Sculptor idea, but it doesn't really close up the game very fast. Like it can take more provinces than I did. If you're playing versus an engine instead of playing versus money, you probably take province on 8 more often. But it's not exactly taking province fast. So like this deck doesn't need to work in 14 turns with worse draws. Like you have time, I think, versus the Fiatum thing. And if Fiatum money is not taking provinces very quickly, like this deck I think really wants to gain provinces, probably, because the best payload, I think, is the Change plus Lich synergy. And Change Lich can only gain provinces. So you have to gain something costing more than 6. So I think this deck actually does pretty well versus Sculptor Fiatum, because there's more provinces left, and because you have a long period of time to score, I think. That being said, I do think the bot was making a few suboptimal choices when it was choosing to discard to Advisor. Like it discarded Advisor, which I think makes sense. But let me have the Imperial Envoy, so maybe this was a little bit faster than it should have been. I'm not sure. But this definitely has potential. I think it's a little bit better than I initially thought it was. So yeah, there's an engine to be had here.